when Mutt got involved, a lot of things changed. When John Parr got involved, a lot of things changed because that's how they work. You know, they're both songwriters and massive songwriters. And I'm just some Joe from St. Albans. The last gig I'd done was the Horn of Plenty in St. Albans. And, you know, all of a sudden you're working with John Parr, St. Elmo's Fire, and you're working with Mutt Lange, Def Leppard, and the list is just like forever. And it was incredibly overwhelming.
Right.
Incredibly so. And you just thought that everything that you had written or were writing was just no good. Just no good.
Even though they'd obviously seen something in you.
Absolutely, yeah. But you just thought, I can't compete with that. And not that I was trying to compete, because at the time I was just learning so much from them. You know, I mean, I remember one morning that we stayed at Mutt's for about, 6 weeks. I remember me saying, because we went there thinking we were going to be there for a weekend. So we had enough clothes and stuff for a weekend. And he said, you got to stay longer. It's rock and roll. Don't worry about clothes. It's rock and roll. Just let them get grubby. It's rock and roll. Live it, you know. And one morning he came down. He said, I've written a song. And I said, oh, yeah. And it was just me and him in the studio. He said, you got to listen to this and see what you reckon. And he sang, Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car. He'd written it that morning. I was the first person to hear it.
No shit.
The great thing about him was he could describe something and you could hear how it was going to sound with him just playing. He had an ovation. So he was just playing this ovation. You know, the Def Leppard way of singing and that way that you did all the backing vocals, that's him, you know, and it's just how he does it. And so he's just doing this song. He's going, get out of my dreams, get in the backseat, baby. You know, all this stuff. And he's just completely doing the whole thing. Any BVs, you know, he would just say, there'll be a BV here. He just, amazing.
He cracked that formula early on, didn't he?
And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you know, after we'd gone, he'd recorded it with Billy Ocean, and that was that. And same with John Parr, you know, they were just hugely influential in what we were doing and how you craft songs and how you put them together. And it wasn't anything that you felt that you were taking part of at the time. You were doing what you did, but it was the sort of thing that really made an impact later on in life. When you stopped working, you know, when you went home from being at Mutt's, those are the sort of things where you'd sit there and you think, okay, I've got an idea now. And you approach it totally different.
What would Mutt do?
Exactly. That was a problem.
That's a T-shirt. That's the next shit. What would Mutt do?
Exactly, yeah. That was a huge problem because sometimes that would get you into all kinds of grief, especially on a second album where Mutt's not involved. That would really get you into a load of grief because you can't do that. You just do what you do. And it was hard to come to terms with working that stuff out. So you went around the houses quite a bit, you know, just working.
Double guessing yourself kind of thing. And,
well, yeah, you start doing that and you start thinking, well, what would Mutt do and how can we make this sound so it sounds like this and that? And you can't do it. You're not able to do it at that point in your life. You just got to start then moving on with your songwriting and the idea with production and songcraft and try and make it your own as quickly as you possibly can, you know. Just try and get as much stuff put down and done in the best way you know. And with all this new information that's been sort of thrown on you by John and by Mutt,